everybody, Dr. Caitlin here with Fit PT. I'm going to take you through some different squat band walk exercises today. So we're going to go through a few different varieties. Notice that I'm holding 3 different bands in my hand. Now the point is not to tell you which color band to use, because depending on the brand of band that you've purchased, the colors all mean different things. So don't go based off of color, but I will kind of guide you in on, my yellow band for me personally happens to be a light band. The green band for me happens to be a medium intensity band. And the blue band tends to be the toughest, okay, the heaviest. Now for demonstration purposes, and ones that I use most often are probably the green band. So I'm just gonna kind of toss my blue and yellow band to the side. And for today's demonstration, I'm gonna use my medium intensity spree band. Notice that it's circular in nature. You can take a typical Thera stretchy band and tie a loop in it, but I will say, if you've used this in experience, that these little spree bands actually tend to work the best for this. They just hold up the best, they have more resistance and resilience to them, and so I tend to like to use these. Now, you're gonna place the band around your legs. We're gonna do kind of a squat motion with some different walking patterns today. And you'll notice that depending on the intensity of the band that you've chosen, that will change how intense this exercise is, but also where you place it along your legs will change it as well. Now, if you shorten your lever arm, I like to use the knees as a reference. If you shorten the lever arm by bringing the band above the knees, okay, more towards the thighs, closer to the hips where we will be working, that's gonna be much easier. Okay, so keep that in mind depending on what intensity of band you've chosen. If I had chosen the blue band, I would be placing the band here. That would be most appropriate, where I would feel the best burn, but still keep good form, okay? Because I've chosen a medium band, I'm gonna slide my band below my knee, okay? So a few inches above or below the knee. And then if you wanna get even a little bit more challenged, do the lower shins. Okay, so the further away from the hips you go, the closer to the toes, the harder it's gonna be. The further above the knees, closer to the hips, easier it's gonna be, okay, in regards to lever arm. All right, so we're gonna place the feet hip width apart here, and toes are gonna be pointed relatively straight forward. I do see a lot of people like to find that toe out position. I'm gonna encourage you to keep mostly a neutral foot here. That's gonna really help you target the outside of the glutes and hips, which we are trying to get at today. All right, I'm gonna place hands at my hips for ease here. You can place them in front of you or at your hips, wherever's comfortable. Feet hip width apart, toes are forward, sink into a mini squat. Okay, so if I'm facing sideways, this is how far down I am. I'm not going all the way down low here. I'm finding a place that is comfortable for me, where I feel like my core is nice and strong. Notice how my belly's pulled in and I'm not kind of dumping and sticking my butt out, okay? I'm standing through the weight of my feet, even weight between my heels and my toes, but I'm placing a little emphasis on the push of my heels to activate my glute max here at the base of my seat, okay? So I should feel core, nice and supported, glutes active, okay? So there's my mini squat, all right? Your goal is to hold this position the whole time. All right, we're gonna do some different walking postures. So first I'm gonna ask you to step a few steps to the right, okay? Holding your squat, all right? A few steps to the left, holding your squat. Now I'm gonna point out a few things that's gonna make a huge difference in your form and your quality of work effort here. As you're stepping, I call these monster walks because you're keeping a wide stance the whole time. You're never really letting your toes come together and letting go of resistance. You're always keeping some resistance on that band, okay? So again, hip width apart. I'm gonna step slightly past my hip width, but bring your knee and your hip with you, okay? So let's show that again. I'm gonna step sideways, bring your hip and your knee with you, and then come back to that hip width apart stance. What I don't want to see is letting the toes and the feet guide you, and see how my knees are kind of left behind. I also don't want to see a bunch of teeter-totters and body weight movements, because then you're just cheating the system and you're really not using the muscles we want to activate. just with those few little crab walks, side steps, side to side. I'm already feeling this. So where should you feel it, Caitlin? All right, here's where you want to feel it. You want to feel your glutes, the base of your seat, active in your squat, so you should feel the bottom of your butt cheeks, that glute max. And then you also want to feel the gluteus medius and minimus muscles, which are on the outsides of your hips. The stepping motions actually come from those muscles. I'm keeping my body really upright and still. My core is helping me hold. And then I'm activating these outside hip glute muscles. Think about like the sides of the very outsides of your pockets on your pants. That's the area of your seat that you want to target. All right, now I'm not really counting steps here. I'm just kind of going 3 or 4 to each direction as I talk to you. But you can certainly do that back and forth until you get a nice good burn of fatigue, or you could do more steps, okay? Not really picky about that, all right? The goal is to get nice and fatigued, which I'm starting to here, and then take a little break. Now, if I want to take it creative, I could do my little 4 to 5 side steps each way, and then as I get to each end, do some squats in between. Maybe 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to my squat, go back to my side steps, and then as I reach the right side here, I could come back to some squats in place. Okay, so it just is nice to kind of have some options here, because otherwise band walking gets kind of boring. So that's mostly the lateral side stepping exercise. Now, I want to walk you through another common one, again, termed monster walks many times. This is more of the forward and back. I'll show it from 2 different angles here. If I start a little further away from you, again, hip width apart, knees and hips and feet all in one line, okay? I'm gonna keep my feet hip width apart as I slowly start to take some steps towards you, okay? Coming towards you, keeping my good form, and then I'm gonna step back, 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 back. Now it's the backward motion that's the harder one, where you really start to feel it on the back side of your hips, your glutes, your legs. And that, my friends, is the main goal. The forward one is pretty easy for most people, because most of us are pretty hip flexor and quad or front side dominant in our exercise regime. So I want you to really focus on the back. And again, try not to let your body shift a lot side to side, okay? Don't do that. And don't let your heels come in, toes come in as you step. Keep tension on that band the whole time. Don't let your knees fall in, keep them wide, okay? If I show it to you from, let's do it this way, this version, it looks like this. Notice how I'm keeping my squat, keeping my core center. It's almost like I'm in a little mini plank position this whole time here. Good, drive it from the hips, drive it from the hips. That's what I like to think of, all right? So monster walks forward and back, monster walks side to side. There you have it. Those are my favorite little series of band walks. You can throw in some mini squats in there. You can do some side to side movements, however many steps you want to. The goal is to feel how I feel right now, which is a nice, good, solid burn in those glutes and hips. So hopefully you found this helpful. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see here. Again, I'm Dr. Caitlin at Fit PT. Thanks for joining me today.